Okay, you know who's up here in the building. Ha, yeah. What's going on, people? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. Cut it off, cut it all the way off. Yeah. How's everybody doing today? Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and this is that show called Sports Plus Life. If you are a first-time listener, definitely hit that subscribe button and become a member of the Sports Plus Life family. It's a nice sunny day, a little bit of a breeze, but the last couple of days down here in Richmond, Virginia, have felt like springtime is coming. It has felt like that springtime is coming. And today, it is Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. And boy, have there been some things going on in the world of sports, particularly in the world of football. So, I don't want to waste any time. I wanted to get this done early. I'm recording this early. It might not be uploaded until a little later. But without further ado, let's get to it! Okay, so before I get into the whole free agent frenzy that is going on with the NFL, first I would like to start talking about a subject that I have discussed a few times about Antonio Brown, the former disgruntled wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio Brown was just traded a couple days ago to the Oakland Raiders. Yes, the Oakland Raiders. Now, I've kind of looked at Oakland as one of those places where you get traded and your career just goes there and dies. Maybe that won't be the case with AB, but what I will say is this. He got his money. Him and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, got his money of a contract of over $50 million for 3 years with over $30 million guaranteed, where if he had remained with the Steelers this year, he wouldn't have had any guaranteed money. Still would have made a nice amount, but bottom line is Antonio Brown got what he wanted. He got out of Pittsburgh, and he got the bag. And so I kind of just was under the assumption of why get rid of Amari Cooper and then go get Antonio Brown? But you received a first-round draft pick for Amari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys. Only thing the Raiders gave up was a third and a fifth-round draft pick for Antonio Brown. And you're talking about a guy who's arguably the best wide receiver in football. If anything, one of the three best wide receivers in football. And this leaves a lot to be looked at when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because how in one season do you lose a person who is considered the best wide receiver in football and the best running back in football simply because you want to be cheap? It don't make no fucking sense. So AB is now a Raider, and with that, I would have to say, as far as the free agent frenzy has gone, I have to say, we all looked at John Gruden like, what the hell are you doing? Trading Khalil Mack and then trading Amari Cooper? John Gruden has been making moves right now, because not only did you get Antonio Brown, you just got a left tackle, just signed a left tackle to protect Derek Carr, and you have signed safety LaMarcus Joyner, who was with the Los Angeles Rams last year. So I have to say the Raiders are definitely making some moves right now. So they have to be applauded. And what they are doing is basically saying to Derek Carr, all right, dog, you had one good year in 2016. If you ain't got shit this year, you out the door next. Because you get Antonio Brown, offensive tackle Trent Brown, and then on the defensive side, of course, which has nothing to do with Derek Carr, but you get LaMarcus Joyner. And the Raiders still have a lot of number one draft picks. So I have to say I am very impressed right now with what I'm seeing from the Oakland Raiders. Now, a couple of things. The absolute stunner to me, as far as free agency is concerned, is what has happened with the Baltimore Ravens. You know, I was under the impression that the Baltimore Ravens would be definitely in position to make a deep, deep playoff run, if not a Super Bowl run next season, because the Lamar Jackson era is here. But I don't know what the hell they're doing as far as defense is concerned. They released Eric Weddle last week. I wouldn't have, but okay, 34 years old. He'd accounted for a nice little piece of money against the cap, whatever. And I'm thinking that, you're releasing up some money because the Ravens have had a history of having the leader of their team be a defensive face. It started with Ray Lewis, then it went into Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and then Terrell Suggs. And the next person that seemed to be in line was C.J. Mosley. Well, C.J. Mosley has said, to hell with that.
Jerk ass!
He has said to hell with that because C.J. Mosley is getting an $85 million deal with the New York Jets. So C.J. Mosley will no longer be in Baltimore. And then on top of that, to make things even more shocking, Terrell Suggs has informed the Baltimore Ravens that he will not be returning next year. Not because of retirement, but because he's going to play for another team.
Oh my God!
Terrell Suggs, 16 years as a Baltimore Raven, Terrell Suggs has signed a one-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm just stunned. Terrell Suggs is one of those guys that I saw like Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden as being quote-unquote Ravens for life. Because even Ed Reed spent his last year actually team hopping between the Texans and the New York Jets. So you lose C.J. Mosley. C.J. Mosley gets a 5-year, $85 million deal with, I believe, $51 million in guaranteed money. Lord, these players and this guaranteed money. And so he's out of here. And then with other teams, the New Orleans Saints have just signed Latavius Murray, the former running back for the Minnesota Vikings, which is signaling the end of the Mark Ingram era in New Orleans. Of course, Latavius Murray, who came from the Raiders to the Vikings, was supposed to be the heir apparent to Adrian Peterson, but that never kicked off, particularly when Dalvin Cook was drafted to the team, even though Dalvin Cook has never been able to stay healthy. Another longtime defensive member to a team is going elsewhere. Carolina Panthers linebacker Thomas Davis, who has been with the team, I believe, since 2005, is now set to join the Los Angeles Chargers. Tyrann Mathieu, who last year was with the Houston Texans, has decided to sign a 3-year deal, pretty good deal, with the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Texans have replaced Mathieu with the safety Gibson, who was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's definitely been a lot going on. We're still waiting on pins and needles to see what Le'Veon Bell is going to do. There's a lot of talk of him possibly joining the Raiders with Antonio Brown. But the Raiders have set themselves up to have a respectable 2019 year, and then next year when they move to Vegas, they should be ready because they've already got a box office player. It looks like it's going to be resting on Derek Carr.
What about the wiener?
And also the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles have let Nick Foles walk. Nick Foles is going to be the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, whether that solidifies the quarterback position in Jacksonville remains to be seen, because Nick Foles, to me, has a lot to prove outside of the area of Philadelphia. Definitely outside of the realms of Philadelphia, because if you remember, Nick Foles in 2013, when he came in substitute for Michael Vick, 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, great season. And then came back again. Of course, this was under Chip Kelly. Got hurt, didn't finish the full 2014 season, but then was signed a big deal with the then St. Louis Rams under Jeff Fisher looked horrible. But we're going to give him a pass for that because Jared Goff looked horrible under Jeff Fisher. So now he's headed to Jacksonville. Tom Coughlin, who definitely has the familiarity with the NFC East, has signed Nick Foles to a deal. I mean, get your money, Nicky. $88 million, $50 million guaranteed. Now, if I'm a Philadelphia Eagle, and I'm going to say this, if I'm a Philadelphia Eagle or a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I'm not that happy about that situation. The only reason why is because, like I said, when football season was going on, right now Carson Wentz has not proven himself to be able to stay healthy for a full season, and Nick Foles is the best relief pitcher in football. And I understand that Carson Wentz is the future and this, that, and the third, but I actually think Nick Foles was happy and content with being in Philadelphia as the backup quarterback. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have minded that $20 million. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have minded that $20 million for being a backup. But even I would say, nah, I don't want to pay a backup $20 million. I would give him 10. But he's going to Jacksonville, and there's nothing really impressive about Jacksonville's receiving corps, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, on the other end of the Philadelphia spectrum, they're getting one of their own back as Deshaun Jackson, D-Jax, is headed back to the city of brotherly love, the place where he should have never left in the first place. Thank you, Chip Kelly. May you rotten shit. Because Deshaun Jackson is back anyway, and even at 32 years of age, he still takes the top off the defense and will definitely be a better fit than Mike Wallace was, who I don't even think caught a pass last year for the Philadelphia Eagles before he broke his leg and was rendered useless. This is great. This will be great for Carson Wentz. This will be great for Alshon Jeffrey. This will be great for Nelson Aguilar and Zach Ertz. Deshaun Jackson, welcome back to Philadelphia, my dude. It's where you belong. It's where you should finish your career. I know you say eventually you want to end up with the Los Angeles Rams. I know that's where you're from. Damn that. You're back in Philly. Stay there. Stay there. So, free agency has been an absolute frenzy in the NFL, and it's only going to get crazier. But this is all that's to report for now from the NFL free agency standpoint. Now, let me quickly talk about the NBA. You know, we're nearing playoff time. We're definitely nearing playoff time. And they say Golden State is slipping a little bit. No, they're not. You know, Houston is red hot, though. I will say that. The Rockets are red hot. But really what I want to talk about right now is last night, Russell Westbrook got into it with a fan and said some pretty vulgar language to the fan. But you know what? If what he said is true, and we are talking about Utah, racist ass Mormon country Utah, then they deserve everything that he said to them. So let's just go ahead and take a listen and just make your own opinion from it.
How it started was a young man and his wife in the stands told me to get down on my knees like he used to. And for me, that's just completely disrespectful to me. I think it's racial. I think it's just inappropriate in the sense of there's no protection for the players. I think there are a lot of great fans around the world that like to come to the game and enjoy the game. And there are people that come to the game and to say mean, disrespectful things about me, my family. For many years, man, I've done all the right things. I've never done anything to hurt or harm anybody. I've never been in any trouble. Never fought a fan. Been in the league 11 years, clean slate. Like that's just one video, but throughout the whole game, since I've been here, especially here in Utah, every time I come here, it's a lot of disrespectful things I said, and for me, I'm just not going to continue to take the disrespect from my family. I just think that there's got to be something done. There's got to be some consequences for those type of people that come to the game just to say and do whatever they want to say. And I don't think it's fair to the players, not just to me, but I don't think it's fair to the players. And if I had to do it over again, I would say the same exact thing, because I truly will stand up for myself, for my family, for my kids, for my wife, for my mom, for my dad every single time. I expect anybody else to do the same.
You damn right you're supposed to do the same. And you know what? I'm not going to fault Russell Westbrook for anything. Well, I will say this. If it was one thing that I would not have said, I wouldn't have said you and your wife. Unless the wife was chiming in saying her little slick shit too. Because, I mean, look, Russell Westbrook is absolutely right. He has had a perfectly clean slate. You never hear about anything with Russell Westbrook outside of the basketball court. Nothing about drugs, nothing about domestic abuse, anything. Russell Westbrook has nothing to do with any type of riffraff. Okay, he's a killer competitor on the court. People have said that, made their criticism as far as him being hard to play with, but his teammates say they love him. And I don't know what it is why, he keeps having these run-ins with fans. Remember last week he had the issue with the fan in Denver with the little boy kind of pushing him on the sideline. But he kind of just took that as a teaching moment to tell the little boy, hey, you shouldn't do that with professional athletes. But the parents are sitting on the side, kiki-keying, thinking it's funny. Now you come into Utah, and I repeat, Utah, where you have fans throwing racial slurs because Utah is such an area that is so predominantly Caucasian. They look at anything outside of the Caucasian race as inferior. And for a fan to say, get down on your knees like you used to, man, I'd have bought, you know what? I would have found a vendor carrying a Coke cup, got the Coke cup from him. Yeah, I'm Russell Westbrook. I'm good for it. And I'd have threw it right on those motherfuckers. That's what I'd have splashed the shit out of them. Or I'd have been even more petty and said, hey, get on your knees like you used to? Huh, is that right? Well, what I'm doing is making millions and millions of dollars. How about you have your girl come back to my hotel with me and she can get on her knees like she used to, biatch? So, no, that's crazy. I understand being a professional athlete. These are things that come along with it. But particularly in basketball where the fans are so close, not everybody is just going to sit there and take the verbal abuse, the racial slurs, and things like that as if that those athletes are not human. I applaud Russell Westbrook. I really do. Because some of these fans think because they pay the money that they can do whatever the hell they want. It's not the case. Because I guarantee you this, the fan ain't nothing but a punk. Because if he saw Russell Westbrook in the street, do you think he'd say that to his face? Hell no. Absolutely not. He would say that 3 blocks down so he could get a running head start just in case Russell Westbrook tried to chase his ass down. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. The NBA really needs to do something about that because he's right. There is no protection for the players when it comes to the NBA. And as we seeing, it ain't much protection coming to soccer players too. I saw this game yesterday where this soccer player, all of a sudden he was just running back with his team and this fan jumped out of the stands and punched him in the back of the head and pushed him to the ground. And so, these athletic events, they really need to have extra security. It's not like a football game. It's not like at a football game or at a hockey game where you have a big, large piece of plexiglass surrounding the ring. The NBA is close. Now, somebody just dropped the ball on that as far as the soccer goes. But the NBA, you are in close contact with the players. That's why we love it so much. But you don't have to tolerate that. Not at all. Not at all. Now, on a lighter note, I would like to touch on a subject that is very exciting for me and people who went to my alma mater and who are from the area of Richmond, Virginia. I'm sure you all remember last year the story of career NBA G Leaguer by the name of Andre Ingram, who played for the South Bay Lakers of their G League team, and he received a call up from Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, informing him that he was going to be signed to a 10-day contract. And well, he finished out the season with the Los Angeles Lakers. And not only was it a dream come true when he first made his NBA debut, which was on a nationally televised game against the Houston Rockets, he balled out. He had 19 points, and this wasn't against the Rockets' second or third team. Chris Paul was out there. James Harden was out there. Clint Capella was out there. Eric Gordon was out there. And he did his thing. He is 33 years old, and he has just received the call up again today. He will get another 10-day contract. Of course, with the injuries to Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Lonzo Ball, Dre is getting the call up, and he is going to get to play with LeBron James, and I think that that is absolutely amazing for a good guy, great ball player. We went to school together. I played a couple of pickup games with him, and when I tell you, I don't understand why the Lakers just don't sign him to a contract for the entire season. Because one thing that has always been said is that LeBron James needs shooters. He needs shooters, this, that, and the third. Well, Andre has always been a marksman, from his outstanding career at Highland Springs High School to his wonderful career at American University, and he is the all-time career leader in three-point shots attempted and made in the NBA G League. He's been in the G League for over a decade, and he has paid his dues, and he's a dead-eye shooter. He has a lot of energy. There's a lot left in the tank. He plays defense, and I don't understand why the Lakers or some other team just won't sign my boy to a full-on one-year deal. But nevertheless, another 10-day contract. It is absolutely awesome for Dre.
I don't have bad news. The good news is the Lakers want to sign him to a 10-day. I'm excited about this. I'm happy for you. I know you're taking advantage of this situation and this opportunity. But I'll give you a call in a couple minutes. I just need to go over some logistics. But for the next 2 months, I'll let you celebrate with the guys for a bit.
That, of course, was Andre getting the call up for the second time, as this is, again, will be his second stint with the Los Angeles Lakers near the end of the season. The career G League player, former Highland Springs legend, American University great, my classmate and one of my former classmates and friends. It's just cool, it's just cool. To a guy who really deserves it, a really down-to-earth guy, humble guy, still resides in Richmond, Virginia, a wife, couple of beautiful kids. So let's go get him, Dre. Let's say, hey, let's go get him. Let's go represent, and hope everybody is praying and keeping their fingers crossed that actually the Los Angeles Lakers will keep him at least for one season, because, again, he is a spot-up shooter. The kid can ball. I'm saying the kid. He's around my age, but he can ball. He can definitely ball, and he definitely deserves it. So anyway, on another note, now to the NCAA. It is conference championship week. Well, some of the lower conferences started last weekend, but today is the start of the ACC Tournament. Today is the start of the ACC Tournament. It's so many rounds now in the ACC Tournament. I'm just going to say that the University of Virginia is the overall number 1 seed in the ACC, and number 2 seed is Duke. The number 2 seed in the ACC is North Carolina, and then the number 3 seed is Duke, and the 4 seed is Florida State. So Tony Bennett was named Coach of the Year for the ACC, winning the regular season championship outright. But you know what? Damn all of that. I could care less. Excuse me. I could care less, because this is deja vu. Last year at this time, the University of Virginia was 28-2 heading into the ACC championship, heading into the ACC conference tournament, needing 3 games to outright win the ACC and cinch up the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, 365 days later, we are right back at that same position. Now, in the college basketball ranks, the University of Virginia is currently ranked number 2, only behind Gonzaga, who was 29-2. But because of the conference that Gonzaga is in, if UVA wins their conference tournament, they will be the number 1 outright seed. So they're number 2, same record, 28-2. If they win their tournament, same record as last year, 31-2, which would be a combined record for your last 2 regular seasons and conference tournaments of 62-4. Now, we all remember what happened last year. UVA, as the overall number 1 seed, suffered the greatest upset in the history of college basketball. The first time ever a number 1 seed lost to a 16 seed. And what made it worse is the game wasn't even close. Now, goddammit, as a University of Virginia fan and supporter, I'm going to say this to this basketball team. And I understand that DeAndre Hunter, who, by the way, won the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, how DeAndre Hunter was not playing in that game. I don't give a damn. You guys owe us no less than the Final Four. You really owe us a championship. But seeing as how the University of Virginia has never been to a Final Four, you guys owe us a Final Four. Because if you're going to have a historic loss the way you did, and then follow it up with the exact same type of season, even if you don't win the ACC, you're still going to be a number 1 seed in one of the regions in the tournament. They're 28-2. They've only lost to Duke. They're undefeated against everybody else. And incidentally, Duke has slipped all the way to the number 5 seed because they have lost twice to North Carolina, still without Zion Williamson, and I'm pretty sure if Zion Williamson returns for the NCAA tournament, Duke will probably vault back up to being the favorite, but they may have played their way out of a number 1 seed. The only way I see Duke getting a number 1 seed in the tournament is if they win the tournament or have North Carolina and Virginia fall before the conference championship. That's the only way I could see that. Or have Gonzaga possibly fall early in their conference tournament. But be that as it may, it's come to a point now for the University of Virginia where we need to see results during the postseason. Now, I would never sit here and advocate for Tony Bennett to lose his job if they don't at least go to the Final Four this year. I would not do that because this has been the best era of Virginia basketball, honestly, since the Ralph Sampson era. And I don't remember that. I wasn't around, or I was either a very young child, but I don't believe I was around. But it's getting to a point now where there has to be some results for the University of Virginia, because this will be the 3rd time since 2004 that UVA will be seeded number 1 in a region in the NCAA tournament. And the farthest we've gotten was 2016 when we made the Elite 8, had Syracuse beat, and gave the game away. And it just made me sick to my stomach. But since 2014, they've been a number 1 seed. In 2015, they were a number 2 seed. In 2016, they were a number 1 seed. In 2017, they were, I want to say they were a number 2 seed. No. Excuse me. I got that all wrong. No, I'm right. Yeah, 2016, they were a number 1 seed. 2017, I want to say they were a number 2 or 3 seed. And then last year, they were a number 1 seed, and they're going to be a number 1 seed again. Point I'm trying to make is we all know that you have an elite defense, that you use, that over the past 6 seasons, you've been the best defense in the country. The problem has been If a team comes and gets you down early, it is so hard for UVA to play catch up because they can go stagnant on offense. That's a problem that has pretty much been fixed. I've still seen times where they just want to jack up three-point shots when they get stagnant on offense. But you have three guys who are legitimately NBA pro prospects. DeAndre Hunter, I believe if he came out this year, could possibly be a lottery pick. Kyle Guy and Tyler Jerome. In this version of the NBA, which is so predicated on three-point shooting, they have a future. We saw former UVA alum Joe Harris, who was on that 2014 team, who was a number one seed, win the three-point shootout this past All-Star break. So it's getting to that time where we need to see results from the University of Virginia. Over the past couple of years, they have been religiously in the top 10. And I give props to all my Virginia schools. Shout out to Virginia Tech. They're still 16. They stayed in the top 25 the entire season. VCU has come out of nowhere. They're 25-6, and they are the number one seed in their conference tournament, the A10 tournament. And bracketology has them still listed as a number 8, but I believe if they win the A10, they would be about 28-6. I believe they would move up considerably to possibly even as much as a number 5 seed, possibly number 6. But UVA, who has been the lowest rank that they have been this season, has been number 4. And again, undefeated against everybody else except for the Duke Blue Devils, who you could very well see in the ACC championship game. You owe us a Final Four. You owe the city of Charlottesville. You owe the state of Virginia. You owe all University of Virginia supporters around the country, if not around the world. That's the only way you can get redemption. If you're the number 1 overall seed, or if you're a number 1 seed again, which you will be, and you get to the Sweet 16, that's not good enough. It's not. Getting to the Elite 8, that's not good enough. UVA needs to be no less than the Final Four. They need to win it all. But they need to no less be in the Final Four. So with that being said, what a buzzer, what a buzzer, what a buzzer. All right, I just wanted to get this podcast today. It is Tuesday. Usually I do them on Thursday, but I do have a new work schedule. I will get into the life aspect another day. I got a little bit of running around to do. But again, this is your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns, host of Sports Plus Life. So again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And any comments or concerns you have, leave them at that bottom comment box. But I'll check you guys later. I'm out. Peace.